The silent resistance. The light of a dying star glinted off the obsidian hull of the Krell warship as it glided into position above Eridani IV. This was the 12th planetary system to feel the Krell Dominion's wrath in the past 3 solar cycles. Below, on the verdant world's surface, 40 million sentient beings went about their lives, unaware that these would be their final moments. Commander Maya Ishikawa stood motionless on the observation deck of the Galactic Council station, her Earth Standard blue uniform stark against the ornate robes of the other representatives. Unlike them, she did not gasp or cry out as the Krell warship unleashed its first salvo, a blinding lance of energy that cut through the planet's orbital defenses like they were nothing more than paper. "Another world falls," whispered High Counselor Xentar, his forearms trembling as he clutched his ceremonial staff. "The 9th this cycle. The Krell grow bolder with each conquest." Maya's dark eyes remained fixed on the viewscreen. "How many died this time?" 43 million souls," replied Ambassador Vrel of the Proxima Confederation, his feathered crest drooping in mourning. "Their crime? Refusing to surrender their orbital mining facilities." The gathered representatives of the Galactic Council, an alliance of 67 spacefaring species, watched in silent horror as emerald beams lanced down from the Krell vessel, carving molten wounds across Eridani IV's surface. Cities that had stood for millennia vanished in flashes of superheated plasma. "We sent 300 ships to defend them," Admiral Thozon of the Proxima Defense Fleet said, his scaled skin ashen with shame. "The Krell destroyed them all within minutes. Only a handful of escape pods returned." Maya's communicator pulsed silently against her wrist. Earth Command was requesting an update. As the newest member of the Galactic Council, humanity had only achieved faster-than-light travel 50 Earth years ago. They were considered primitives, barely worth acknowledging by the ancient species that dominated galactic politics. "The Council has tried negotiation," Xentar continued, his voice hollow. "We've offered resources, territories, even political concessions. The Krell respond only with escalating violence." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, each representative speaking over the others in increasingly desperate tones. "We must combine all our remaining fleets." "No, we should scatter our ships to preserve what we can." "Perhaps if we surrender more peripheral systems." "There are no more peripheral systems to give." Maya had heard enough. She stepped forward, her movement drawing attention in the chaotic chamber. "Earth will respond," she said simply. The room fell silent, then erupted in incredulous laughter. "You?" scoffed Admiral Thozon. "Your species has barely learned to crawl beyond your solar system. Your ships are primitive, your weapons rudimentary. What could Earth possibly offer?" Maya's expression remained impassive. "We will send one ship." The laughter grew louder, more derisive. "One ship?" Xentar's voice cut through the mockery. "I respect your species' courage, Commander Ishikawa, but this is not the time for humor. The Krell destroyed 300 of our most advanced vessels without suffering a single casualty." "Earth is not joking," Maya replied. "We request the coordinates of the Krell flagship." As Maya left the chamber, her communicator chimed with a priority message from Earth Central Command. "Authorization granted. Operation Defiance is go." The UES Nemesis hung in Earth orbit, its angular hull a stark contrast to the sleek, organic curves favored by other galactic species. Where their ships resembled living creatures or works of art, the Nemesis was all hard edges and armored plates, a weapon, not a statement. Captain Elijah Reeves stood on the bridge, his weathered face reflected in the main view screen. At 58, he had fought in humanity's last global conflict and carried the physical and psychological scars to prove it. "Final systems check complete, Captain," reported Commander Naomi Chen, his executive officer. "All tactical systems green. FTL drive nominal." Reeves nodded, surveying his bridge crew. All veterans, all volunteers. Each had been selected not only for their technical expertise, But for another quality, the Galactic Council species seemed to have forgotten over millennia of relative peace, the will to fight against impossible odds. "The Council thinks we're on a suicide mission," he said quietly. Chen's lips curved in a tight smile. "They don't understand human history, sir." The ship's AI materialized as a holographic projection beside the captain's chair, a woman in ancient Greek armor, spear in hand. "Based on Krell attack patterns," said Athena, "I predict their next target is the Ta City colony. 96% probability." "Then that's where we'll meet them," Reeves decided. He opened a shipwide channel. "All hands, this is the captain. You all volunteered for this mission, knowing the odds. The Krell have terrorized this galaxy for too long, destroying worlds while the Council wrings its collective hands. Today, we show them, and the galaxy, how humans respond to bullies." In engineering, Chief Maizong ran her hands over the ship's unique propulsion system. Unlike the standard quantum drives used by Council races, the Nemesis carried something different. Technology reverse-engineered from ruins discovered beneath the Martian surface, combined with humanity's own innovations. "She'll hold together," Mai whispered to the humming machinery. "Just long enough." In the armory, Marine Commander Jackson drilled his Special Forces team one final time. Their powered combat suits represented the pinnacle of human military technology, enhancing strength, speed, and reaction time while connecting directly to the soldiers' neural systems. "The Krell think they're the apex predators of this galaxy," Jackson told his team. "Today they meet the species that hunted mammoths to extinction with pointy sticks." As the Nemesis broke orbit, a final transmission came through from Earth Command. Admiral Katerina Volkov's stern face appeared on the bridge screen. "Captain Reeves," she said, "you carry humanity's answer to those who would terrorize the weak. For the past century, we've chosen peace and cooperation, but we haven't forgotten how to fight. The galaxy sees us as peaceful because we choose to be peaceful. Today," Reeves finished, "we remind them that peace is not the same as weakness." The massive ship turned away from Earth, its experimental drive creating ripples in space-time itself. Unlike Council vessels that used established jump gates and predefined FTL routes, the Nemesis carved its own path through the cosmos. The front of the ship seemed to stretch forward like a reflection in warped glass, then vanished in a flash of blue-white light. In the Ta City system, evacuation sirens wailed across the colony world. People rushed toward shelters and emergency ships as orbital defense platforms came online, a futile gesture given the Krell's overwhelming firepower. Governor Lyra Dex broadcast to her people through emergency channels. "Remain calm. Proceed to your designated evacuation points. Our defense forces will." Her message was interrupted by an unexpected alert. "Governor, call the colony's defense coordinator. Unknown ship entering the system. Not Krell configuration." On their screens, they watched as a massive angular vessel appeared in a flash of blue-white light. A message came through on all channels. "Ta City Colony. This is UES Nemesis from Earth. Continue your evacuation. We'll handle the Krell." Governor Dex stared at the screen in disbelief. One ship. They sent one ship. In the darkness beyond the colony, 8 Krell warships emerged from jump points, their obsidian hulls seeming to devour starlight as they moved in their standard attack formation. They had not expected to find anyone waiting for them, least of all a human warship. On the lead Krell vessel, War Commander Kruver observed the lone human ship with 6 cold, calculating eyes. "Interesting," he said to his officers. "The humans send one vessel to die. Analyze its capabilities while we destroy the colony." The Krell ships accelerated toward Ta City, ignoring the Nemesis. They had never considered humans a serious threat. No species in the galaxy had ever stood against the Krell dominion and survived. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Captain Reeves watched the Krell formation on his tactical display. "They're ignoring us," Commander Chen noted, "just as we expected." Reeves nodded. "Perfect. Deploy countermeasures. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. The ship's AI responded immediately, deploying drone swarm. From the Nemesis, thousands of small autonomous drones shot out in all directions. Each was barely larger than a human hand, but carried sophisticated technology. The drones raced ahead of the Krull fleet, then activated simultaneously. A massive electromagnetic pulse swept across space, specifically calibrated to the frequency of Krull shield systems, a vulnerability Earth intelligence had identified by studying debris from previous Krull attacks. On 3 Krull ships, shield systems failed instantly. Alarms blared as their protection vanished. "What is happening?" demanded Kruvor, his scaly skin flushing dark with rage. "Restore shields immediately." Before the Krull could react, the Nemesis fired its main weapons. Unlike the energy beams used by council races, humans had brought something older but devastatingly effective: hypervelocity kinetic projectiles, essentially massive bullets accelerated to near-light speed. The unshielded Krull ships had no defense. The projectiles tore through their hulls, causing catastrophic damage. One ship exploded immediately. 2 others spun out of control, venting atmosphere and crew into the vacuum of space. For the first time in their campaign of terror, the Krull had suffered casualties. "Impossible," hissed Kruvor, his claws digging into his command chair. "All ships, focus on the human vessel. Destroy it." The remaining 5 Krull warships broke their attack formation and turned toward the Nemesis. They fired their energy weapons in unison, creating a web of deadly light. "Evasive maneuvers," ordered Reeves calmly. The Nemesis moved with surprising agility for its size, avoiding most of the Krull fire. What hits it did take seemed to be absorbed by its hull, rather than deflected. Another surprise for the Krull, who had never encountered such defense technology. "They're trying to disable us, not destroy us," Chen reported, checking damage readouts. "They want our technology." "Execute Thermopylae protocol," Reeves commanded. "Deploying tactical gravity mines," the AI responded. The Nemesis released several dozen small devices that quickly spread throughout the battle area. When activated, they created localized distortions in spacetime, technology derived from those same Martian ruins. 2 more Krull ships suddenly found themselves caught in artificial gravity wells, their navigation systems unable to compensate. One collided with another, causing significant damage to both. In the Tav City colony's command center, Governor Dex and her staff watched the battle in stunned silence. "How is this possible?" the defense coordinator whispered. "They're actually winning," Dex replied, hardly believing her own words. On the Krull flagship, Kruvor was coming to a similar, but far more disturbing realization. For the first time since the Dominion began its campaign of conquest, they were facing a species that could fight back effectively. "Retreat," he ordered, his voice thick with unfamiliar emotion. "Fear. All ships, disengage and retreat immediately." The 3 remaining Krull warships turned away from the battle, their drives flaring as they prepared to jump away. "They're running," Chen said, disbelief in her voice. "Let them go," Reeves replied. "They'll carry the message back to their leaders. The hunt is over. The prey has teeth." As the Krull ships vanished into FTL, cheers erupted across the Nemesis. But Captain Reeves remained somber, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. "This was just the beginning," he said quietly. "Send word to Earth. Operation Defiance, Phase 1 complete. The Krull now know we can fight. Prepare for Phase 2. In the vastness of space, the battle that would change the fate of the galaxy had only just begun. Humanity had announced its presence not with words, but with action. And the Krull Dominion would never be the same again. The tides of war. News of the battle at Ta City spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Species that had cowered under Krull dominion for generations dared to whisper of hope. On countless worlds, beings gathered around communication terminals, sharing increasingly embellished accounts of how one human ship had faced a Krull battle fleet. And won. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The Grand Chamber, normally a model of decorum and procedure, hummed with excited conversation as representatives debated what the human victory meant for the balance of power. High Counselor Centaur called for order, his 4 arms raised. "We must not overstate the significance of one skirmish," he cautioned. The Krell Dominion controls thousands of warships. They have conquered hundreds of worlds. Yet they fled from a single human vessel, countered Ambassador Vrel, his feathered crest raised in excitement. For the first time, the Krell have tasted defeat. Commander Maya Ishikawa stood before the council, her posture perfect, her expression unreadable. The UES Nemesis reports minimal damage. 3 Krell ships destroyed, 2 severely damaged. The remaining 3 retreated. Admiral Thozon leaned forward, his scaled face creased with suspicion. How did one primitive human ship accomplish what 300 of our most advanced vessels could not? "We fought differently," Maya replied simply. "The Krell have become accustomed to enemies who fight according to established galactic doctrine. Humanity wrote our own playbook." The chamber erupted again in a cacophony of questions, but Maya raised her hand for silence. Earth is prepared to share our defensive technologies with the Council. In return, we request full membership status and coordination authority for the counteroffensive. Counteroffensive? Centaur echoed, his voice rising in alarm. "One victory does not mean we should provoke the Krell further. They will retaliate with overwhelming force." Maya's dark eyes swept the chamber. "They already use overwhelming force. They already destroy worlds at will. The only difference now is that they know they can bleed." Deep within Krell space, in the fortress world of Dominax Prime, Supreme Overlord Dak Reshor received the news of defeat with deadly calm. His massive form, 3 meters of muscle and armor-like scales, remained motionless on his obsidian throne as War Commander Kruvor completed his report. "The humans used unconventional weapons," Kruvor concluded, prostrating himself before his master. "Primitive in design, yet effective. They targeted weaknesses we did not know existed." Dakreshor's 6 eyes narrowed to slits. When he finally spoke, his voice rumbled like distant thunder. "You fled from a single vessel. Supreme One, their technology. You fled," Dakreshor repeated, rising from his throne. With terrifying speed, he crossed the chamber and lifted Kruvor by his throat. "The Krell Dominion does not retreat. The Krell Dominion does not know defeat." With a casual flick of his wrist, he dashed the War Commander against the wall. Kruvor slumped to the floor, broken but still alive. A fate worse than death, for now he would serve as an example. "Assemble the Grand Armada." Dakreshor commanded the remaining officers. "Every ship, every warrior. We will not merely destroy this human vessel. We will obliterate their homeworld. The galaxy will witness what happens to those who defy the Dominion." As the officers rushed to obey, Dakreshor returned to his throne, activating a holographic display of the known galaxy. He focused on a small, unremarkable star system. Sol. "These humans think they understand war," he murmured. "We will teach them its true meaning." Aboard the UES Nemesis, Captain Reeves reviewed the damage reports with Commander Chen. Despite their victory, the ship had not emerged unscathed. "Hull integrity at 82%, Chen reported. "Drone reserves at 63%. Main weapons operational, but the starboard kinetic accelerator needs recalibration." Reeves nodded, studying the tactical display. "And the Ta City evacuation?" "Complete. The colony is empty." Governor Dex expressed her profound gratitude. The ship's eye, Athena, materialized beside them. "Captain, I've completed my analysis of the Krell retreat patterns. They're regrouping at coordinates that suggest mobilization of a much larger force." As expected, Reeves said grimly, "They won't underestimate us again. How long until the second wave of Earth ships arrives?" "The Perseus and the Orion will rendezvous with us in 36 hours, Chen replied. "The rest of Task Force Defiance follows within 3 days." Reeves turned to his executive officer, his weathered face solemn. The next engagement won't be like Ta City. The Krell will commit everything they have. Chen met his gaze steadily. Then we'll be ready with everything we have. In engineering, Chief Zhang supervised repairs while integrating new data from the battle into the ship's systems. The Nemesis had performed beyond expectations, but she knew the Krell would adapt quickly. The absorption field held better than predicted, she told her team as they worked. But we need to reconfigure the harmonics. Next time, they'll try to overload it with concentrated fire. In the medical bay, Dr. Kavita Sharma treated the handful of injuries sustained during the battle, mostly minor burns and concussions. As she worked, she monitored the psychological profiles of the crew. Combat affected humans in ways the Galactic Council species rarely acknowledged, perhaps because many of them had forgotten what real war felt like after centuries of relative peace. "How are they holding up?" Captain Reeves asked, stepping into the medical bay. "Remarkably well," Sharma replied. "The victory has boosted morale considerably. But they know what's coming next." Reeves nodded. "We all do." The Krell Grand Armada assembled at the edge of Dominion space, 200 warships, each capable of laying waste to an entire world. They moved in perfect formation, a testament to the martial discipline that had made the Krell the most feared species in the galaxy. Supreme Overlord Dakrishor commanded from his flagship, the Inevitable Conquest, a vessel 3 times the size of any other in the fleet. His strategy was simple: overwhelming force applied without mercy or restraint. "The humans defend the Proxima Centauri system," reported his new war commander, Vexlor. "Our intelligence suggests they have assembled a small fleet of their primitive vessels." "How many?" Dakrazor demanded. 7 ships, Supreme One, including the vessel that defeated Kruver's squadron. Dakrazor's lipless mouth curved in what might have been a smile on a less terrifying face. 7 against 200. Their courage will make their destruction all the more satisfying. The Grand Armada entered FTL, tearing through the fabric of space toward Proxima Centauri, and what the Krell believed would be a swift, decisive victory. In the Proxima Centauri system, Task Force Defiance waited in formation around the inhabited world of Proxima B's 7 Earth ships, angular and utilitarian compared to the organic curves of Galactic Council vessels, positioned themselves in a defensive array. But they were not alone. Behind them waited the combined remnants of the Galactic Council fleets, 120 ships of various designs and capabilities. On the bridge of the UES Nemesis, now serving as the flagship of this unlikely alliance, Captain Reeves addressed the assembled commanders via holographic conference. "The Krell Grand Armada will arrive within 2 hours," he began without preamble. 200 ships against our 127. On paper, the odds are against us, but the Krell fight with arrogance born from centuries of unopposed conquest. We fight with the knowledge that everything we love depends on this victory. The alien commanders listened intently, some with skepticism, others with growing respect. "Each of you has received the tactical package from Earth Command," Reeves continued. "Study it. Implement it. The Krell expect us to fight according to established galactic doctrine. We will not. We will fight as humans have always fought when facing a superior enemy, asymmetrically, adaptively, and with absolute commitment." Admiral Fuzon, who had once dismissed humans as primitives, now commanded the Council's contribution to the defense. "My ships have integrated your kinetic weapons and drone systems," he reported. "Though I must admit, the concept of using physical projectiles seems archaic. Sometimes the old ways are best," Reeves replied with a grim smile. "The Krell have optimized their defenses against energy weapons because that's what the galaxy has used for millennia. They're not prepared for what's coming." As the conference concluded, Commander Chen approached her captain. "They're still skeptical," she observed. "They'll believe when they see it," Reeves said, his eyes on the tactical display where the countdown to the Krell arrival continued its inexorable progress. "Send the signal to Earth. Operation Defiance, final phase commencing." The Krell Grand Armada emerged from FTL at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system, their black ships blotting out the stars like a creeping shadow. On the command deck of the inevitable Conquest, Supreme Overlord Dak Reshor observed the defensive formation with contempt. "Pathetic," he rumbled. "They've gathered their remaining ships in one place. We will annihilate them in a single stroke." "Supreme One," Vexlor reported, "our scanners detect unusual energy signatures from the human vessels. They appear to be activating some form of experimental technology." "It matters not," Dak Reshor dismissed. "No technology can stand against the might of the Grand Armada. Begin the attack sequence." The Krell fleet accelerated toward Proxima B, their formation spreading to envelop the defenders in a sphere of destruction from which there would be no escape. Captain Reeves watched their approach on the Nemesis tactical display, his expression calm despite the overwhelming odds. "They're using their standard encirclement pattern," he noted. "Right on schedule. All ships, execute Operation Leviathan." Across the Allied fleet, captains acknowledged the order. The 7 Earth vessels moved to predetermined positions, activating systems that had never before been deployed in battle. From the Nemesis and its sister ships, waves of energy pulsed outward, not weapons, but something far more revolutionary. The pulses rippled through space-time itself, creating a localized disruption in the fabric of reality. On the Krell vessels, alarms blared as systems began to fail. Drives sputtered and died. Weapons powered down. Life support flickered. "What is happening?" roared Dak Reshor as his flagship lurched sickeningly. "Unknown, Supreme One," Vexlor replied, frantically working his controls. "They've created some kind of dampening field. All quantum systems are failing." "Impossible." Dak Reshor slammed his massive fist into a console, shattering it. "No species possesses such technology." But the evidence was undeniable. Throughout the Grand Armada, ships drifted powerless, their advanced technology rendered useless by the human dampening field. "Phase 1 complete," reported Commander Chen on the Nemesis. "The Martian drives are performing beyond projections. Dampening field stable." "All ships," ordered Captain Reeves. "Commence Phase 2." The Allied fleet accelerated toward the stricken Krell Armada. But rather than opening fire immediately, they deployed a new weapon, one that the Galactic Council had initially dismissed as barbaric. Boarding craft. Hundreds of small, armored vessels shot from the Allied ships, aimed at the now defenseless Krell warships. Inside each, teams of human Marines in powered combat armor prepared for what they did best: close-quarters combat. The Krell, for all their physical might and martial prowess, had forgotten what it meant to face an enemy at arm's length. Centuries of technological warfare had made personal combat a lost art among their warriors. The human Marines had not forgotten, nor had they come alone. Alongside them fought volunteers from a dozen Council species, beings who had lost homes and loved ones to Krell aggression and now seized their chance for retribution. On the inevitable Conquest, Dak Reshor heard the hull breaches as boarding craft attached themselves like parasites to his mighty flagship. For the first time in his long life, he felt something akin to fear. "Repel them," he ordered his personal guard. "Kill any who dare breach this command deck." But the invaders moved with shocking speed and coordination. The powered combat suits made the humans nearly as strong as Krell warriors, while neural interfaces gave them reaction times that seemed impossible. The command deck doors buckled under concentrated fire, then exploded inward. Through the smoke stepped a human in battle armor, the insignia of a Marine commander on his shoulder. "Supreme Overlord Dak Reshor," Commander Jackson announced, his voice amplified by his suit's speakers. "In the name of Earth and the Galactic Council, you are hereby placed under arrest for crimes against sentient life." Dak Reshor roared with rage and lunged forward, his massive form seemingly unstoppable. But Jackson's suit sensors tracked the Krell's movements, predicted his attack pattern, and responded with inhuman precision. The Marine commander sidestepped the charge, then struck with a shock bed designed specifically for Krell physiology. Dakreshor collapsed in a heap of twitching scales and muscle. Throughout the Grand Armada, similar scenes played out as boarding parties secured ship after ship. Some Krell fought to the death. Others surrendered when they realized their situation was hopeless. Within 6 hours, the unthinkable had happened. The mighty Krell Grand Armada, the terror of the galaxy, had fallen not to superior firepower, but to an enemy willing to look their oppressors in the eye. 2 weeks later, Commander Maya Ishikawa stood before the Galactic Council once more. This time, there were no mocking laughs or dismissive comments. "The Krell Dominion has agreed to unconditional surrender," she reported. "Their remaining military installations are being dismantled under Joint Earth Council supervision. Supreme Overlord Dakreshor and his war commanders await trial for crimes against sentient life." High Counselor Xentar, humbled by recent events, bowed his 4 arms in a gesture of profound respect. "Humanity has saved the galaxy from tyranny. We owe you a debt that can never be repaid." Maya shook her head. "We didn't do it alone. Every species contributed to this victory, once they remembered how to fight for what matters." Nevertheless, Xentar continued, "The Council has voted unanimously to offer Earth the leadership position of our new unified defense force. Your species has demonstrated not only military prowess, but wisdom in victory. Where we might have sought revenge, you have established justice." Maya considered the offer for a moment, then nodded. "Earth accepts this responsibility with one condition. The Defense Force must never become an instrument of conquest or oppression. We fight only to protect, never to dominate." As the council session adjourned, Ambassador Vrel approached Maya privately. "There is something I still do not understand," he admitted. "How did your people develop such advanced technology in isolation? The dampening field, the neural interfaces, the Martian drives. These are beyond anything the Council races have achieved in centuries of development." Maya smiled slightly. "Perhaps because we never stopped challenging ourselves. While the galaxy grew comfortable and complacent, humanity continued to push boundaries. We never forgot that progress comes from struggle. A lesson the galaxy is now learning again," Vrel observed thoughtfully. "And one we must never forget," Maya replied, her gaze turning to the stars visible through the station's viewport. "The Krell have been defeated, but the universe is vast. There will be other challenges, other threats. When they come, we must be ready, not just with technology, but with the will to stand against any who would rule through fear." Aboard the UES Nemesis, Captain Reeves stood on the observation deck, looking out at the fleet being assembled under Earth's new leadership role. Ships from dozens of species now trained together, sharing knowledge and techniques that had been forgotten or never developed. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" Commander Chen said, joining him at the viewport. "The beginning of something new," Reeves agreed. "Or perhaps something very old, remembered again." "What do you mean?" Reeves gestured to the diverse ships maneuvering in formation. "For too long, the galaxy believed peace meant the absence of conflict. They forgot that true peace comes from the strength to defend it." Chen nodded thoughtfully. "A strength they're rediscovering, thanks to us." "Not just strength of arms," Reeves added. "Strength of will. The courage to stand up when everyone else kneels. That's what humanity brought back to the galaxy." As the Nemesis prepared to return to Earth, carrying the architects of victory home for a well-deserved respite, a message arrived from the newly formed Galactic Defense Command. "Long-range sensors have detected unusual activity in the Andromeda Galaxy," Chen reported, reviewing the data. "Unknown signatures, possibly artificial in origin." Reeves absorbed this information with the calm determination that had carried him through the Krell conflict. "Well," he said at last, "it seems our work isn't done yet." In the vast expanse of space, humanity had found not only its place among the stars, but its purpose: to stand as a bulwark against the darkness, wherever and whatever form it might take, not through conquest or domination, but through the unwavering resolve to protect the freedom of all sentient beings. The stars no longer trembled under Krell dominion. But beyond the comforting light of familiar suns, new challenges awaited, and humanity would meet them, not alone, but as leaders of a galaxy that had remembered how to fight for what matters.